Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's good to have you here for another episode. And today we have Shanna Clark. I'm excited to have Shanna on. Welcome, Shanna.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. Shanna's a fellow Subto student and been doing real estate for a while. And so excited to have her on here and get to know her a little bit more. Maybe, Shanna, we'll start by asking you to tell us a little bit about your story and what made you pursue real estate, and then maybe kind of lead us into how you joined Subto as well.
Yeah, so how I started real estate was I ran into, when I moved back to my hometown, I ran into somebody that I went to school with, and his ex-wife had just like deserted him and the kids. And so I don't know, I just my did my mom thing, and we started dating, and then next thing you know we were living together, and then we rehabbed the house together. And I was like, you know what, we could do this like full time. Like we could do this, like, flip houses and stuff like that. So that's what we were getting ready to do next before we split up, but I just kind of never lost that thirst for it. So and there were a couple times that everybody kept telling me, you should be a real estate agent, you should be a real estate agent, you'd be great at it. And so I finally became a real estate agent in 2018. And the I loved it, actually. I was on a really good team. And then the shutdown happened, the pandemic. Um, and that kind of just threw a lot of people off track.
Yeah.
So I was really like feeling insecure and lost, like what's going on, what's going to happen with the market, and things were getting crazy. So I believe in YouTube University. It's the best. Learn from other your peers, right?
Hmm.
So I was looking up something about real estate, and Pace popped up, and I started listening to him, and I was like, oh wow, this creative finance, like this is wild. And I felt like the Mandalorian. I was like, oh, this is the way, this is how we get through this market, and so on. And so that's why I have Baby Yoda there with the hat on, with the Sub 2 hat on. So I went down a rabbit hole like a lot of people do when they first discovered him, and I was just blown away. um, so then finally I joined, and um I just can't believe all the endless possibilities. First of all, I don't know of any other community or mentorship where it's for life.
Oh,
That's like amazing. And I just can't believe all the I found out that it wasn't just about real estate, that real estate was not the only thing that you would get out of joining Pace's community. It's just the idea of the community and the community as a whole, and the positive vibes and the support, not to mention the resources and everything that you learn. So that's how I found Pace, and I'm still blown away, like months later.
that's awesome. So when did you actually join?
I joined in April.
Oh, that was the same month
Mhm.
I joined.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
So we're what, seven months or so in
something like
ish.
that. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, that's cool. That's kind of how I found him too. I just started YouTubing and same thing. I just like, whoa, wait a minute. This is such a better way, to buy real estate and to be creative and the opportunities there to really expand your portfolio a whole lot quicker and with less cash. So it really spoke to me, and that's what made me join as well. So
Hmm. And they
so
say your vibe attracts your tribe. So,
yeah.
he was just my kind of person. Like I could totally relate to him, and just the way he explains things so easily. And yeah.
So the same for me, I found perhaps more than the content in Subto has been the community. And I don't know, maybe you want to speak a little bit about the benefits of the community and what you've gotten from it so far since you've joined.
Well, I'll tell you, there's two things that you'll never be in this community. Number one, you'll never be bored. And number two, you'll never be lonely.
That's true.
Like, unless you completely cut yourself off.
Yep.
But I mean, I kind of feel like it's sort of like being a bee in a beehive. Everybody's like all running around doing stuff, and there's like all kinds of resources and like Zooms all day, every day, 6 days a week, and people that you connect with to do deals with, learning. I mean, and it's always like changing and evolving.
Mm-hmm.
There's always like new things being added on. Just when you feel like you're getting ready to get the real estate down, then Pace announces, "Hey, I'm going to do this new program," and here we are doing the project for with the YouTube channels and all that kind of stuff, podcasts and stuff. And then he's just recently started this business buying program, and I mean, it just never stops. And he's not even halfway through the vision that he had years ago, which I'm sure has been added on to since then. So a beehive is the best analogy. It's just it's amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely no lack of information, and no lack of content and activity that's going on within the group. So for me, I find it I got to make sure I stay focused because I can easily get distracted going this way and then turn around and go this way and then back and forth, right? There's just so much.
Yeah.
And you just have to be careful, like, okay, try and stay focused on a few things and work on those things, right? So that you don't get down too many rabbit holes.
Yeah. It's so easy to do. And I've heard people say, well, why should I join his community? I can get everything from Facebook. And I heard him say, I'm not Facebook, I'm sorry, YouTube. I heard him say one time, less than 1% of what you get inside my community is on YouTube. And I was like, no, there's no way. So when I finally joined it, I was like, oh my gosh, he was not lying. This is insane.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, with people who are easily bored like me, I don't see it ever happening.
No.
He's always like, 10 steps ahead of everybody, which is hard to imagine. But
yeah, and I mean, how often they put out the new content and there's Zooms every day. There's plenty. more than you'll ever get through. So
yeah, you literally need to force yourself to take a few steps back and decide what you want to do, because there's so much to choose from. There's no way that you could possibly do it all.
Yep.
No way. You have to just say, okay, I'm going to do real estate. I'm going to do one other thing or whatever, but there's just so much.
Yeah, for sure. So what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out, whether it's in real estate or Subto? What are some key things that they should focus on as they're starting their journey?
So my best advice for that is don't expect to jump right in and get your first deal right away. I see a lot of people like that. They're like, I need my deal, because for number one, there's a lot to learn. Even if you already are in real estate, even if you already are an agent or you already are an investor, there's still so much to learn. With it being creative, there's lots of different moving parts and ways to put a deal together so that it makes sense for everybody involved. And because of that just makes it like 10 times more intricate than a normal real estate deal. You know what I mean? Yep. So don't focus on jumping in and getting your first deal right away. You're either going to make mistakes if you do, or you're not going to be ready. I mean, nobody jumps in and does something like that the first time, something that detailed the first time. You have to learn the process, and you need to make sure you're doing it right. And there's a lot to learn. I mean, even Pace says he's still learning. You can never stop learning with this.
For sure, yeah, because there's so many different transactions and different ways to do a transaction that once and I've heard this too. No transactions are the same. So even though once you do a transaction one way, the next time you try and do a similar transaction, there's some other intricate part that just makes it different that you got to figure that piece of it out, right?
Yep. You can play the same game every day, the same board game every day, but you're going to have different players, and you're going to have different outcomes, and it's going to go down differently every single time.
So with joining Subto and you already being a real estate agent, how did that add to your real estate game? I mean,
my brain was breaking at first. I was like, how do you put these two together? Like, my brain was breaking. So I was kind of doing them simultaneously rather than integrating them. But I mean, there's a lot of benefits to being an agent. You can, sell the flips. You can partner with other people. You have credibility when you're talking to other agents. You already have a knowledge of the real estate market and real estate in general. There's a lot of benefits from it. So, I mean, and you can help people that, like, with low equity and things like that might have not been able to do a sale originally. Like, they would have to come out of pocket with writing a check for closing costs and things like that. Because a lot of people don't understand that, you sell your house for a price, but you also have to give room for closing costs and realtor fees and, repairs if they're asked, and all kinds of stuff like that. But yeah, it's another tool in your tool belt.
yeah, for sure. I would imagine it really opens up more potential deals to you because of the different ways. It doesn't just have to be a cash transaction, right?
Right.
And in a deal where somebody either wants too much money or there's no equity on the table and they're going to end up paying out of pocket, I think it creates more of a winnable situation for both you and them to figure that out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I love this a lot better, though. I mean, even though I was the type of agent that liked to kind of all work towards the same common goal, I feel like with this creative finance, you're like helping a lot of people, that you're helping everybody involved. Like, with pre-foreclosures, you're able to help them save their credit, maybe get out of a situation that they just feel they can't get out of otherwise. When you have distressed properties or estate sales, these are all like issues that people just, kind of feel overwhelmed with a lot. And with creative finance, you can, move the parts around until you come up with a plan that works for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. So this is kind of the avatar you've taken, right? As you've joined Subto, you've taken your agent experience and you're working with agents, right? Doing
Yes.
direct agent outreach. And so what strategies or tips to other, of our audience members out there that are wanting to do the same strategy, but perhaps aren't an agent, but they want to work with agents? What tips, especially being an agent and seeing both sides of the picture, what could you help them? Some tips that would help them be more successful.
So there's always pros and cons to everything, right? Nothing is one-sided, right? So some of the pros to working with agents are, number one, they're not emotionally invested in the property. They're there to help their client, of course, but You know, they have realistic expectations of the property value, and that's one thing. Another thing is they're usually more available. They're ready to talk. They have a lot of experience in getting homes sold. You know, they were hired to do a job, which is sell the house, and so you know the motivation's always there. Um, Let me see what else. Oh, something to remember about agents when you do call them. Um, they're usually in a rush. You know, they're always busy. You know, when they answer the phone, I always tell people when I'm coaching them that you know you always got to think about your audience. You got to think about your seller or your agent or whoever it is that you're talking to. Always think about your audience and how you can help them. A lot of people, especially in the beginning when you're making calls and you know you're a little unsure or a little nervous or whatever, a lot of people will just you know they're just thinking about you know getting the deal, getting the deal, getting the deal, when really what you need to practice focusing on is the person that you're speaking to. What's their situation? How can I help them? And that's you know what makes for a really great deal. So they're in a rush. They when you call an agent, if they don't answer the phone right away, I usually leave a voicemail and then always follow up with a text message. It could be that they're on showings or something, or it could be that they've hired people to answer the phones for them. There could be a number of reasons, but everybody always gets a text message. They may not, it may be a couple days before they can check their email or voicemail or whatever. And let me see what else. Um, Also with agents, if you don't get them on the phone right away, it is so true what they say, fortune is in the follow-up. It really, really is. Because they
Yeah.
get so busy and they may forget to reach back out or, you know, you never know. It's like planting seeds and you have to go back and water them. Nothing's going to sprout right up right away, you know. So that's really where it's going to come in handy with the follow-up. And so another thing to kind of get their attention, to get them on the phone is you know what you're think if you're thinking of your audience, you know their goal is to get the household, right? So, you know, your text should say something like, "Hi, my name's Shanna. I'm calling about your listing on Main Street. Um, Reach back out to me when you have a sec, so we can talk about me possibly purchasing this property from you." You know, you're telling them things like, oh, they can sell the property. You know, you're making it short and sweet. You know, you're telling them you might be a buyer for them, and then you go from there. That should pique their interest. If it doesn't, something's really wrong.
Yeah. That should be their main goal, right?
Right, right.
So, I've done a little agent outreach as well, and you know, sometimes you'll get a deal and it just doesn't make sense for an investor, right? As
Hmm.
either a cash deal, you know, they want too much cash, or perhaps there's no equity in the deal. Um, have you come across? I've come across agents when you try and talk about, okay, maybe some creative options and how we can work the deal, and they kind of are shut off to it right away. Have you come across that, and have you found any strategies or tips that kind of help keep them have an open mind?
Yes. So a lot of them don't know what it is, or just you got to make sure they know they're getting paid for one. I mean,
Right.
that's, you know, they're not going to help talk themselves out of getting paid for all the work that they've been doing on this listing. So that's really key to make sure you let them know um, that you're going to take care of their commissions or whatever. Um, and then also, what was the original question again?
Just how do you get them to have an open mind to it? Like where they initially
Oh,
seem like closed off, right?
yeah. So, you know, in our community, you got, like I said, you got to pick the things that you want to do. You can't try to do everything. It's just too much in our community. So knowing that I wanted to do direct to agent, I started going to these Zooms where these a few Subto students that like to work together put something together called the Closers Cafe, and they would call and let us call and teach us how to coach us on making calls to agents. And so they, I mean, the community is like so amazing. They teach so freely, they give so freely. So when I went in there and I was practicing and I was learning, um, they gave us some, things that we could use in our, agent outreach. After we talked to an agent, kind of gave us like a template of an explanation of seller finance. Sometimes, you just stumble in your words, and it's just good to just have it in writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I usually send an email with and attach an explanation of seller finance or subject to creative finance, and then let them know if their sellers have any questions, that we'd be happy to jump on a Zoom, and then follow up shortly after, no more than a day or two, and ask them how it went. Agents, they don't want, it's really hard when you are a hired professional, if they don't fully understand something, a lot of them may not really want to explain it, for, looking a certain kind of way and not really, knowing a lot about what they're talking about. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that may be what stops a lot of agents. And if you're kind of getting that vibe on the phone when you're doing your initial phone call, it can't hurt to say, look, I know that a lot of people don't really, know about this or have forgotten about this. If it helps, I can, we can jump on a Zoom and we can help explain it for you so that, you don't have to go and, try to explain something that, you don't really understand 100% yourself. So
Right.
that help. I've had to do that before. So.
Oh, well, that's awesome. So did you put together that document then that you're sending out? So like
So
explain
like
some.
I collect. I'm sorry. What was that?
No, go ahead. I was just wondering if you put together that document on, or did you borrow it? And it's, but are you emailing that to them if if they have questions about subject to or other creative options?
Well, they gave us a copy of like an explanation of seller finance, and so whenever the community gives us something like that to to help us out, I usually go over it and proofread it and kind of maybe change a thing
Mhm.
here or there to kind of like make it my own.
Gotcha. No, that's awesome. I think that's a great idea. I'm gonna may have to add that tool as well as I'm reaching out to agents. So
Yeah. And then, I mean, I have a couple videos that Pace does where he's explaining it and that I save, and I'll attach a video in an email as well. I mean, he has 9.5, 10 years more practice than we do.
right. Explains it a lot better than I would. So
Yeah, he's very articulate and logical. I love it.
well, Shanna, what markets are you in or are you looking to be in? So for those out there that might want to work with you or help you in your business.
I am in the DMV market and the Carolinas. Um, so I'm on a team, and the DMV, which stands for DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I guess it could be Delaware and DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Um, so I went to a meetup shortly after I joined, or I'd say a couple months after I joined, because I was like, I just want to meet some of these people in person. So I went to a meetup and I met um, a mother and daughter duo at this meetup. And, we instantly clicked, and we kept in touch. And they were actually at the beginning stages of trying to put a team together. So I said, well, yeah, let's do it. I'll, be on your team and we can do deals together and stuff like that. So now, fast forward to now, which hasn't been that long, there's already like what, a dozen people on this team. And yeah, we're doing great. And again, I forgot the original question. My ADD is horrible today.
Oh, you're good. No, just what you told us what markets you're in. Maybe what type of deals are you looking for in those markets? Are you looking to buy and hold? Are you doing flips, or you wholesaling? What can people look for you?
So I'm doing both buy and holds, and like sometimes they'll get an assignment fee. Sometimes we'll partner on a buy and hold. If it's something that is going to take a little bit to make enough cash flow for it to make sense to have, you don't want too many people owning it together. The cash flow has to make sense for everybody.
Right.
So that kind of determines it. But yeah, so Stacy and Jael are in my DMV market, and I do a lot of work with them. And then I also, keep in touch with a lot of other people in this market in the Carolinas. The Carolinas is where I would like to migrate to, here, maybe in the spring.
That's nice. I've been in North Carolina several times. I like the area. It's pretty. It's a nice area. So.
Yeah, very.
Well, that's awesome. Maybe one more question for you, Shanna. Are there any books, resources, or tools that maybe have had a significant impact on you that you could share with our readers that might help them, or not our readers, our audience? Sorry.
Yeah. So there's lots. I'll just give you a few. Let me see. Okay. So I've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, Rocket Fuel, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, Miracle Morning, Sell It Like Sirhant, and then this is the one I'm working on currently. High Performance Habits.
Okay.
And there is a planner. So I like the Audible because I can't just do one thing at a time. So I'll like listen to Audible, like, while I'm making my coffee in the morning, or while I'm driving, or, whatever. While I'm cleaning, I'll listen to it. Yeah, so and then once I finish one, I usually move like right on to the next one. But this one is really cool. I did this one. I haven't been in the Daily Dial for a while. I used to go every single day, while I was learning the process. But I heard that Caroline that runs the Daily Dials recommended that. And then there's a planner that went along with it. And I just have yet to be able to get into it, but this is from the same guy that does that book. And it's like, it's not just like a planner. It has like, it's how do I explain this? Like there's like a test in here that you take for your personality type, and it kind of helps you keep productive according to your personality type. It kind of keeps you on track, and it has like goals that you do. It's very in depth. Yeah. So, and it's called the High Performance Planner, and it kind of goes with that book. So I'm getting through that book first. And you can get it on Amazon.
All right. I don't have that on my list or in my collection, so I'm gonna have to add that and check that book out. So
yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure to have you with us today, Shanna. Maybe you can let us know how our audience can connect with you. How can they find you?
Yeah. So I'm on all social media. YouTube is what I'm most active on at the moment. I have LinkedIn, I have Facebook. You can find me just by searching my name. And I'm on Instagram, but look, I'm like Gen Xer here. Like I've gotten everything else down, and Instagram was just not on my list until I got into Subto and everybody's using it. So I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I better use my Instagram then. So I'm still learning that. So if you try to reach me on Instagram, just be patient, but everything else you can pretty much get me pretty quick.
Awesome. Maybe I'll drop the links below here on the video so people can have those direct links to your YouTube channel and Facebook and stuff. So yeah, I'm in the same boat as you though. I do better with Facebook and YouTube than I do with Instagram. I'm on there, but probably not as active as I could or should be. So
right. I always thought it was a young person's platform, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me too. So
I just didn't understand it. Of course, not growing up with anything like that. A lot of people my age, I don't know how old you are, but a lot of people my age were like didn't get things as they were like I didn't get texting at first. I was like, why are you going to sit there and type something out when you can say it a lot faster if you call them?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay, you don't have to do the whole introduction and saying goodbye and let them ramble on. And so then I started getting on board with that. And then I didn't get Instagram because I was like, but you can take pictures and stuff on Facebook. So why do we need a separate app for that? But yeah, they all have their perks.
Yeah, that's true. That they all have their benefits, and I'm trying to figure them all out. So a work in progress. So
yes. Well, you got a bunch of little tutors living with you, right?
Yeah, I know. My kids are probably better at technology than I am. So I'm like, hey, like if I have a question on the iPhone, I'm like, how do I fix this? Figure out this setting or something. I go to my 17-year-old. Hey, how do you do this? And they show me. Like, oh, okay, that wasn't that complicated, but it would have taken me 30 minutes or an hour to try and figure it out. So
right, don't take that for granted because I'm an empty nester. Mine are all adults, and nobody here to fix anything or show me anything anymore.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, Shanna, it's been a pleasure, and I hope our audience will reach out to you and connect with you, and appreciate having you on.
Yeah, thank you. Same. Thanks for having me.